Hi, Bryn. Um, there's a very cold snap happening in Saskatoon, so I haven't been able to be working out in the garage because I was hoping to get your project due soon. Or not your project, my project, your birth or Christmas gift. Oh boy, I was just out shoveling. I guess it scrambled my brain. Anyways, since I couldn't work on that for you, I thought we could dive into one of the stories you chose by Rudyard Kipling. So I'm going to read you them in the order that they are, based on the ones you had interest in. So the first one is How the Whale Got His Throat. This book has a interesting drawing for the letter I on this page. It looks like a sword with a dragon hilt, and there is maybe a name here, but it's hard to see. But then there's 1874 imprinted on the drawing letter I. In the sea, once upon a time, oh, my best beloved, there was a whale, and he ate fishes. He ate the starfish and the garfish, the crab and the dab, and the place and the dace. Place is spelled Plaice, and dace, Dace, and the skate and his mate, and the mackerel and the pickerel, and the really truly twirly-whirly eel. All the fishes he could find in all the sea he ate with his mouth so. Till, at last, there was only one small fish left in all the sea, and he was a small htWghT, htWghT. And he swam a little behind the whale's right ear, so as to be out of harm's way. Then the whale stood up on his tail and said, I am hungry. And the small htWghT said, in a small htWght voice, Noble and generous crustacean, have you ever tasted man? Oh, not crustacean. Cetacean? Cetacean. Cetacean? I'll have to look that up later. Have you ever tasted man? No, said the whale. What is it like? Nice, said the small htWght. Nice, but nubbly. Then fetch me some, said the whale, and he made the sea froth up with his tail. One at a time is enough, said the htWght. If you swim to latitude 50 north, longitude 40 west, that is magic, in brackets, you will find, sitting on a raft in the middle of the sea, with nothing on but a pair of blue canvas breeches, a pair of suspenders, and you must not forget the suspenders, best beloved, and a jackknife, one shipwrecked mariner, who, it is only fair to tell you, is a man of infinite resource and sagacity. So the whale swam and swam to latitude 50 north, longitude 40 west, as fast as he could swim, and, on a raft in the middle of the sea, with nothing to wear except for a pair of blue canvas breeches and a pair of suspenders, you must particularly remember the suspenders, best beloved, and a jackknife, he found one single solitary shipwrecked mariner, trailing his toes in the water. He had his mummy's leave to paddle, or else he would never have done it, because he was a man of infinite resource and sagacity. When the whale opened his mouth back and back and back, till it nearly touched his tail, and he swallowed the shipwrecked mariner, and the raft he was sitting on, and his blue canvas breeches and suspenders, which you must not forget, and the jackknife. He swallowed them all down into his warm, dark, inside cupboards, and then he smacked his lips so, and turned around 3 times on his tail. But as soon as the mariner, who was a man of infinite resource and sagacity, found himself truly inside the whale's warm, dark, inside cupboards, he stumped, and he jumped, and he thumped, and he bumped, and he pranced, and he danced, and he banged, and he clanged, and he hit, and he bit, and he leaped, and he creeped, and he prowled, and he howled, and he hopped, and he dropped, and he cried, and he sighed, and he crawled, and he bawled, and he stepped, and he leapt, and he danced hornpipes where he shouldn't, and the whale felt most unhappy indeed. Have you forgotten the suspenders? So he said to the 'stute fish, "This man this man is very nubbly, and besides, he is making me hiccup, or hiccough." How do you spell hiccup? This says hick-cough. What shall I do? "Tell him to come out," said the 'stute fish. There is an image here, but it's sideways, and there's a large inscription, so I'm going to leave that till later and read that to you. But I will show you the photograph, and I think you're meant to view it sideways. Okay. "Tell him to come out," said the 'stute fish. So the whale called down his own throat to the shipwrecked mariner, "Come out and behave yourself. I've got the hiccoughs." "Nay, nay," said the mariner, "not so, but far otherwise. Take me to my natal shore and the white cliffs of Albion, and I'll think about it." And he began to dance more than ever. "You had better take him home," said the 'stute fish to the whale. "I ought to have warned you that he is a man of infinite resource and sagacity." So the whale swam and swam and swam, with both flippers and his tail, as hard as he could for the hiccoughs, and at last he saw the mariner's natal shore and the white cliffs of Albion, and he rushed halfway up the beach and opened his mouth wide and wide and wide, and said, "Change here for Winchester, Ashalot, Nassau, Keene, and stations on the Fitchburg road." And just as he said Fitch, the mariner walked out of his mouth. But while the whale had been swimming, the mariner, who was indeed a person of infinite resource and sagacity, had taken his jackknife and cut up the raft into a little square grating, all running crisscross, and he had tied it firm with his suspenders. Now you know, you were not supposed to forget the suspenders. And he dragged that grating good and tight into the whale's throat, and there it stuck. Then he recited the following slaka, which, as you have not heard it, I will now proceed to relate. "By means of a grating I have stopped your eating." For the mariner, he was also a Hibernian. They've got dashes there. I don't know what a Hibernium is. And he stepped out on the shingle and went home to his mother, who had given him leave to trail his toes in the water. And he married and lived happily ever after. So did the whale. But from that day on, the grating in his throat, which he could neither cough up nor swallow down, prevented him from eating anything except very, very small fish. And that is the reason why whales nowadays never eat men, or boys, or little girls. The small 'stute fish went and hid himself in the mud under the dorsals of the equator. He was afraid that the whale might be angry with him. There's an image here with another large caption, so I'll show you the image and I'll come back. The sailor took the jackknife home. He was wearing the blue canvas breeches when he walked out on the shingle. The suspenders were left behind, you see, to tie the grating with. And that's the end of that tale. Okay, now I will read to you these sections that go with the picture. So the first section I'll read is this one. And it goes, "This is the picture of the whale swallowing the mariner, with his infinite resource and sagacity, and the raft, and the jackknife, and his suspenders, which you must not forget. The buttony things are the mariner's suspenders, and you can see the knife close by them. He is sitting on the raft, but it has tilted up sideways, so you don't see much of it. The witty thing by the mariner's left hand is a piece of wood that he was trying to row the raft with when the whale came along. The piece of wood is called the jaws-off gaff. The mariner left it outside when he went in. The whale's name was Smiler, and the mariner was called Mr. Henry Albert Bivens, A.B. The little 'stute fish is hiding under the whale's tummy, or else I would have to draw him. The reason that the sea looks so ooshy-scooshy is because the whale is sucking it into his mouth so as to suck in Mr. Henry Albert Bivens, and the raft, and the jackknife, and the suspenders. You must never forget the suspenders." Yeah, it's pretty hard to see all those things. Okay, let me read you the caption for that other second picture. This is the one that I'm going to read about. "Here is the whale looking for the little 'stute fish, who is hiding under the dorsals of the equator. The little 'stute fish's name is was Pingle. He is hiding among the roots of the big seaweed that grows in front of the doors of the equator. I have drawn the doors of the equator. They are shut. They are always kept shut, because the door ought always to be kept shut. The ropey thing right across is the equator itself, and the things that look like rocks are two giants, Moor and Core, that keep the equator in order. They drew the shallow pictures on the doors of the equator, and they carved all those twisty fishes under the doors. The beaky fish are called beaked dolphins, and the other fish with the queer heads are called hammerhead sharks. The whale never found the little 'stute fish till he got over his temper, and then they became good friends again." I'll show the picture once more. I'm guessing these are the hammerhead things. I don't know who those are, but they might be Moor and Core. And then I don't know who these are. These are the giant rocks, maybe? Oh no, wait, the rocks are Moor and Core. I don't know. And then there was one more piece of text like that, and it didn't have a picture to go with it, but I will read it. "When the cabin portholes are dark and green because of the sea outside, when the ship goes wop with a wiggle between, and the steward falls into the soup tureen, and the trunks begin to slide, when nursery lies on the floor in a heap, and mummy tells you to let her sleep, and you aren't waked or washed or dressed, why then you will know, if you haven't guessed, you're 50 north and 40 west. Something about that is magic. Cool, cool. Alright, the next one you asked for was The Elephant's Child, so I will read that next time. Lots of odd little words in there for us to learn. Hope you're having a good day. Love you, bye.